Alright, good afternoon. My name is David Van Wortel, and I'm going to be showcasing my monument project on Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. My monument is created in Minecraft, an infinite sandbox game played by millions. It really let me use 3D to my best advantage and to create a more lifelike monument that you could maybe go into in real life if it were to be made. So I'm going to start off by showing that there is a line separating these two sides of the monument. There's two colors separating the entire thing, alternating, and those are blue and ivory. These colors are meant to be very somber and very death-like, as used in the novel. That's what they're used to represent. And this kind of shows the fine and fragile line between life and death, and how really there's little difference between those two places until you get there. On the death side, we have a representation of Dresden, Germany, with a large burning and smoking crater with an incendiary bomb above it. As you can see, it's tipped with a skull representing the death that it brought to the city. Of course, it was not just one bomb, it's multiple, many, many bombs. Behind the bomb is a building in very dilapidated shape. You can see it's destroyed and on fire and burning and smoking. This is kind of representing the physical damage along with the wall. The physical damage of the explosives that were used and the bombs, and how it really destroyed the entirety of the city. And scattered around the crater are dirt splotches and dead flowers, dead bushes, and skulls. These are meant to represent the death of people and animals that occurred during those bombings. In fact, there is actually some charred skulls. Um, this is to represent some of the Germans actually were going to or had used flamethrowers to cremate some of the bodies where they lay to make the cleanup efforts easier for them. Overlooking the destruction is a bird that says "Pooty wheat." This nonsensical phrase is designed to show that really there's no words that can describe the horrors of the firebombing and what it brought onto the city and the world and those who were involved in it. And below the sign or below the bird, there's a sign that says "So it goes." This is a phrase used in the novel to represent how sometimes people think that war just comes with death, and death and war are hand in hand, and that death is inescapable in this sense, and it's just how it goes. This is used a lot in the novel um, in use of describing mortality and death and life, just citing just how life works. Um, Moving over to the other side, this is the side representing life. As you can see, there's lots of trees and flowers and grass and water. This is to represent the lusciousness of life and how it's amazing that we have life. In the middle of this forested area is a cemetery with 20 headstones, and these 20 headstones represent the 20,000 lives, 20,000 and more lives lost during the bombings, and each of them have a flower to remember them. Generally, cemeteries are actually meant to represent death, but in this sense, I'm using it actually to represent life, and how with death comes, with life comes death, and how it's really inescapable, and how dying doesn't always mean that you yourself are dead, but your soul can live on, and for those who believe in incarnation, so can you. Um, and this kind of leads to a new sense of life. Separating the sides, not only with the thin line and the walls showing life and death, is a fountain. I'm using this fountain to represent the normal unity or cycle between life and death, and how with life you also have death. Not normally in the sense that of brutal murder or bombs, that kind of stuff, but also just how when someone lives, they will eventually die. Um, and it really shows that this fountain represents life is not only just showing that there's a cycle between it, but it's also a very delicate cycle that can be easily interrupted by our own race, humans, in the form of war and bombings and tragic events like this. And it really all makes you come to think, is war really worth the physical and psychological impacts that it creates to those who are victims of the war or those who are bystanders, those who are complacent, those who are participating, and such like that? Um, do people really realize the effects it has on people, or do they maybe want to say um, that popular phrase or that used phrase from the book, just so it goes, citing that it's just how the world works? Alrighty, I'm David Van Mortel, and thank you for watching.